The fading line of memory.
Think about your earliest childhood memory. Maybe it's your mother's voice. Maybe it's your favorite toy. Or maybe the day you got lost in a shopping mall. Wait, what if I told you you were never lost at all? Not because you're lying, but because your brain may have convinced you that something happened when it never did. For decades, scientists believed memory worked like a camera. First, you experience something, then it's recorded. Years later, you simply press play. That was the theory. But in the 1990s, an experiment changed that idea forever. A young woman walked into a psychology lab. Researchers placed 4 short stories from her childhood in front of her. 3 of them were real. Her family had confirmed every detail: a birthday party, a family vacation, a visit to a relative. But the 4th story was completely fabricated. It claimed that as a child, she had gotten lost in a shopping mall. The problem was, it had never happened. The researchers asked only one question: "Do you remember this?" Without hesitation, she shook her head. No. But the experiment didn't end there. A week later, she returned. This time, she paused. "I think I remember something." Another week passed. By the 3rd interview, she was describing details: which store she had been near, the elderly woman who comforted her, how frightened she had felt. She even remembered crying. The researchers quietly took notes, because every detail she described came from a day that never existed. And yet, she had genuinely come to believe it was one of her own childhood memories. When the experiment was over, the researchers had found exactly what they were looking for. The psychologist behind the study was Elizabeth Loftus. But fooling people was never Loftus's real goal. She was haunted by a much more disturbing question. If people could sincerely remember childhood events that never happened, how much could we trust memories of events that actually did, especially inside a courtroom? Loftus designed another experiment. This time, participants watched the same short video of a traffic accident. 2 cars, 1 intersection, a brief collision. That was all. Afterward, each participant was taken into a separate room. The first group was asked a simple question: how fast were the cars going when they hit each other? The second group heard almost the same question. Almost. Only one word had changed. How fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other? A week later, everyone returned, and something strange happened. Some people in the second group began describing broken glass. There was just one problem. There had never been any broken glass. Not in the video, not at all. A single word had changed what people remembered. The video hadn't changed, their past had. Human memory doesn't work like an archive. The brain doesn't open an old file. Instead, every time you remember something, it briefly becomes editable again. Psychologists call this process reconsolidation. During reconsolidation, new information can blend into old memories. New emotions can reshape old experiences. Today's fears can rewrite yesterday's details. That's why 2 siblings who grew up in the same house can remember the exact same day in completely different ways, because neither of them is replaying the past, they're reconstructing it. This is why modern psychology and neuroscience increasingly view memory not as a passive storage system, but as a living process of constant reconstruction. At the beginning of this video, I asked you to think about your earliest childhood memory. Now, go back to it. Are you remembering what really happened? Or are you remembering the latest version your brain has been rewriting for years? And perhaps the most unsettling truth is this: the witness we trust more than anyone else is our own memory. But modern psychology suggests that witness may not be nearly as reliable as we think. Maybe the past isn't a fixed place we look back on. Maybe it's a story we rewrite every time we remember it.